Good morning and welcome to Community Connections, Resources, and Gardening. My name is Quandra Gaines and I'm your host. I wanted to give my appreciations to Donnie Glover and the Be More News team. I hope that you are checking us out. There's so many different wonderful hosts on this network. It's a privilege for me to be here. I also have a show on Wednesday nights that's called Political Cipher, where we dig deep into different political um, inequities um, from all levels of government and even in everyday life. Today, we're going to have a special guest, and until they arrive, we're going to be talking about the importance of voting. Early voting starts October the 27th until November the 3rd. Also, the general election in Maryland is November 8th. And I'm hoping and praying that everyone goes out to vote. It's very important. There's a lot of things on the ballot that we will be discussing on Wednesday night um, that you need to be aware of. One of my concerns as a resident and constituent in the state of Maryland is that Baltimore City hasn't had an audit yet. Um, so I do know that there's something on the ballot about an audit. Um, but the question is, why is it taking so long? I mean, we've had how many administration of mayors, and we still don't have an audit. Um, as a constituent and as a taxpayer, that's concerning to me. Why? It's concerning to me is because my property taxes, if I don't pay my property taxes, I can go into a tax sale. So, what happens to our leaders who are not accountable to us? What happens to them? Who's accountable right now? Another thing is there are a lot of activities out in our community. There are a lot of schools and a lot of community organizations that could use your help. Go check them out in your neighborhoods. Give them a call because I know they're going to need help for their Thanksgiving giveaways, their Christmas activities, their day-to-day operations with the children or seniors. If you have a skill like crocheting, knitting, sewing, writing, reading, um, painting, give that skill up. Share it with somebody. It's getting cold outside. I mean, here we are in the couple of days of fall. Like I said, the second week of fall, and we are down into the temperatures of 38 degrees sometimes at night. Check on your neighbors. Check on your senior citizens. Check on each other. One of my definitions of community is that we look out for one another, that we stand up and stand tall to assist another neighbor. This is the time of the year where people are getting depressed, suicidal, all kinds of things. So, my suggestion, what I do every day is I try to check on someone. Um, I can't check on everybody, but I do try. So, what I would say to you is, like they say, the Good Samaritan rule, treat somebody where you want them to treat you. What I say is, treat someone better than you want somebody to treat you. So, on that note, we're going to get ready to introduce um, Mother Deborah. Hold on. Hi, Mother Deborah. Hi, Mama Deborah. Dr. Mama Deborah. How are you today?
Doing well. How are you?
I am here. It's wonderful. It's cool outside. It's fall. I want to make squash soup and
Oh, wow. Okay.
I made pumpkins. I made a carrot cake last week, homemade, and
Okay.
I want to make pumpkin soup and
Uh-huh.
squash soup.
All right.
So,
Wow. Okay.
so today, Mother Deborah is
Butler is trying to get in. He
okay.
he called me once. He ain't the most tech. I'm
That's
letting him know.
okay. You don't have to be tech savvy.
I know
Chris,
that's right.
he could
I'm
take.
not good and he's worse.
but that's okay. That's
Well, he
okay.
should be coming. That's
Well,
for
he said he
sure.
was coming, and we know he's coming. And if we
Yeah.
need to help him, we I guess we'll call get him on. So
Yeah.
today, Mother Deborah, you called and you wanted to share some wonderful news about a conference that's coming to Baltimore in November.
Yes. The
Okay.
National Association of Black Storytellers will
Okay.
host this 40th conference and festival here in
Yes.
Baltimore.
All
And
right.
it is co-sponsored by the Griot Circle of Maryland, which is
Mm-hmm.
the local affiliate of the National Association. So there will be storytellers from all over coming into Baltimore.
And what date is that?
It is November 9th through 13th. And we'll be downtown at the I think wait a minute, let me look on this thing, make sure I say the right hotel. I think we're downtown at the Sheraton.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the Sheraton.
All right.
Yeah, the
So tell us.
Baltimore Sheraton in a harbor
Okay.
is where
I'll
it
make
will
sure I put
be.
that in there. Sheraton.
Yeah, the Baltimore Sheraton in a harbor.
And it's November the.
The 9th through the 13th.
Ooh.
The 9th through the 13th.
All right. Now
And
tell us more about. I always mess this up. The Griot
oh,
Circle.
the
Griot
griots.
Circle of Maryland. Tell us more about that. I've actually gone and uh, down at the arena player.
Yeah, and seen one of their
Oh
programs.
my goodness, that was
Oh
profound.
gosh. Yeah, well, the Griot Circle has been around for almost as long as the 40 years,
Mm-hmm.
if I'm not mistaken. I haven't been there quite that long.
Mm-hmm.
I came to the Griot Circle once my son was recognized and identified by Mama Murray Carter Smith
Mm-hmm.
as someone she was impressed by when
Mm-hmm.
he told a story and she heard him. So I went in as the mother, trying to see
Mm-hmm.
what's going on with my kids. So I've been there ever since, working specifically with young people
Mm-hmm.
in what we call the growing griots. Yeah, so
Okay.
I've been doing that since like I think 97 when we first started, because they used to, the young kids at that time were like traveling performers. So they
Mm-hmm.
went around and they told stories, not just in the state of Maryland, but up and down the East Coast. And they always went to the festivals and performed and that kind of things. And I got them ready. Butler and
Mm-hmm.
I, we would prepare them, and I was the one sewing the outfits for them to wear and all that kind of stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
we had them ready. We had them ready. Yep. And once they kind of outgrew us, started going to college and that kind of thing, we changed the structure of the program. So
Mm-hmm.
we now call it the Growing Griots Literacy Learning Program. So it's like a mentoring, educational, African educational, but storytelling based
Mm-hmm.
program. So we accept young people from middle school to high school, and we have even had elementary school students in our
Mm-hmm.
program. Some of whom have gone on to be phenomenal storytellers, and some who have just come through the program. But we have a slogan that we profess, and that is once a growing griot, always a growing griot, because
Mm-hmm.
we maintain contact with them as much as we can, and we mentor them and support them outside of that program. So we've done things like drove people to proms and help them find prom dresses and go to art shows that they may have, or anything that a child does that needs support. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
If we profess to be mentors and concerned about them, then we show up to see and do those things. So that's what we've been doing in this structure now for 16 years. For 16 years, we've been in the structure as the Growing Griots Literacy Learning Program. Okay.
Yes. And then you also had the drumming when I was at the center where you
Yes.
and we had the story doing the storytelling and the drumming and seeing the kids evolve.
Yeah, that comes from my children when they were little were students of Sankofa Dance Theater.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, which played a big part in their lives. Okay, and that's where they learned to drum and African dance. So when we
Mm-hmm.
went to the griots, David was already in drumming, so he enhanced his storytelling skills with his drumming as it was progressing and that kind of stuff. So they often did stories. My kids, where they drummed and Murray danced. A lot of times
Mm-hmm.
we found a story that she could dance a part in the story and those kind of things. So that helped them, you know, be more attuned to what they were doing. So that was a good advantage to them. And Sankofa, you know, and just to put a plug in for Sankofa,
Mm-hmm.
they have a show that's going to be opening at the Peel Museum. You know, the
Mm-hmm.
Peel Museum downtown. And I think it kind of opens tomorrow. They having a reception or something that opens tomorrow. From if I'm doing this from memory, I think from like 12 to 4. But they're gonna have drumming and dancing at that opening.
Mm-hmm.
African drumming and dancing at their opening. So it's like 35 years of Sankofa because they've been around for 35 years. And
Mm.
yeah. So I don't know how I'm gonna get Butler. I might have to call him and do something to try to help him get on here.
Okay.
I won't be able to stay the whole time. And I really want him to talk about the Adopt a Teller program, which is the
Mm-hmm.
one that I sent you the information about,
Mm-hmm.
which is an opportunity for people to experience a storyteller, a national storyteller. And I tell you, if you want to hear some storytelling, you should hear some of the tellers in the National Association of Black Storytellers. So should I call him or how should I try to do this? To get
All
him?
right. So I'm going to mute you,
Okay.
and I'll talk about some other things
Okay. Let me see if
while
I can.
you're. All right. All right. So I hope that you listen to the words of Dr. Mama Deborah, and we are talking about the National Association of Black Storytellers, and they're going to be having their 40th anniversary for an annual Black Storytelling Festival and Conference in Baltimore, Maryland. And those dates I will put up are November the 9th through the 13th, and it's going to be at the Sheraton Hotel downtown. So I hope that you're, if you've never heard a storyteller, I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it from experience. It is profound. It's profound. It's enlightening. It's an experience that I can't put into words. To hear different storytellers from different generations. I mean, younger adults, kids actually storytelling. Um, Profound. So please support. Um, you may even learn something about yourself. So on that note, while Mama Deborah is getting Mr. Butler here, we're going to talk about some other activities coming up. Um, if you would like to be a host on this show, you can definitely email me, which is quandra.gaines@gmail.com, or you can give me a call at 443-355-1892. This show is basically to showcase change agents. When I say change agents, it could be a youth running a program, a youth doing a soup kitchen, a youth doing mentoring. It could be a senior who can sing or who can do different things. So come out and support. Hi, Mr. Butler. How are
Hello,
you?
I worked it out. Thank you, Mama Deborah.
How are you today?
I'm doing great now. I got your flavor in my eyes. You know what I'm saying?
That's good. So, Dr. Deborah gave us talked about the National Association of Black Storytellers and that you guys will be hosting the 40th annual Black Storytelling Festival and Conference in Baltimore from
Yes.
November the 9th through the 13th. And I'm going to do everything I can to get to at least 2. And the griots. Yes. Circle of Maryland are the hosts.
Yeah.
Griots. See, I want to give you
Circle.
another name. Griots of Circle of Maryland. I've actually got to listen and be right there in the middle and absorb all that. So welcome. So tell us about yourself and tell us what's going to be happening with this new program that you guys are doing. Adopt a
Well,
Talent.
my name is Bunjo Butler.
Okay.
I am a retired librarian.
Oh.
Uh-huh. I am a member of the Griot Circle of Maryland,
Mm-hmm.
um, a past president of the Griot Circle of Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
I am a member of the National Association of Black Storytellers,
Okay.
a past president of the National Association of Black Storytellers. Yeah. Currently, I am a co-director of the National Association of Black Storytellers Community Outreach Program.
Mm.
Its name is the Adopt a Teller Program.
Okay.
In the Adopt a Teller Program, we place storytelling arts professionals in the metropolitan area in whichever city we are hosting our festival.
Mm-hmm.
As you said, this is our 40th anniversary here in
Mm-hmm.
Baltimore, and we are trying to place and or placing storytellers in schools, libraries, senior citizen centers. We'll place them in detention centers, cultural organizations. Um, the Adopt a Teller program started in 1991 in Corey, South Carolina. And we've been sharing the Black storytelling in the African oral tradition since that time.
Mm.
What the we have storytellers coming from around the country to participate in the festival.
Mm-hmm.
They are vetted storytellers on our roster that goes out to the schools, to
Mm-hmm.
the libraries, to whatever uh, organizations that we are um, sending storytellers to.
Okay. Okay. Now, how can someone or school or someone hearing this get involved? Let's say they want an application. Where can they go?
Well, they can go to the website. The
Mm-hmm.
National Association of Black Storytellers website is
Mm-hmm.
nabsinc.org and click on the drop down menu for Adopt a Teller.
Okay, I'm gonna put that on there too.
And we are at a point here in Baltimore now where you can email me at bunjobutler@gmail.com
Mm-hmm.
and I can send you and will send you a application.
Okay. All right, and I have your email, so I will put that on there as well.
All right.
All right. So tell us more. I mean, tell us something. Tell us why this was actually important that you create something of this caliber.
Ooh, well, 40 years ago, number
Mhm.
one, our co-founder, one of our co-founders, Mother Mary Carter Smith,
Mhm.
was from Baltimore, and
Mhm.
our other co-founder, who was originally from Philadelphia, but is living here in Baltimore now, Mama Linda Goss, in 1982 or before that, being members of storytelling organizations, they saw that we, as African Americans, as Black, as people of the African diaspora, could not share our stories,
Mhm.
our way,
Mhm.
our voices. And they decided to bring us together and start the what was then the Association of Black Storytellers.
Mhm.
And they had their first festival here in Baltimore at Morgan State. It was Morgan State College then.
Mhm.
It's Morgan State University now in 1983. And since then, we have gone around the country celebrating and sharing Black storytelling. I say that with emphasis. Black storytelling. It gives us the opportunity to, again, we share stories in the African oral tradition. And we are able to tell our stories our ways, not have
Mhm.
anybody else um, try to, I won't say steal our stories, but change our stories. It's like um, what we might be dealing with now, where in schools they don't want you to tell the truth about your
Mhm.
history,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
They don't want you
Mhm.
to tell the truth about your history. But we, in the National Association of Black Storytellers,
Gonna tell
share
it.
the truth
Yeah.
Mhm.
about our history. And we do it in so many ways because we have 15 affiliate organizations
Mhm.
around the country.
Mhm.
And members from those 15 organizations will be coming to the festival.
Oh, okay.
This is in 1992, Baltimore hosted the 10th annual festival and conference.
Mhm.
The Griot Circle of Maryland formed in 1989 in order to host that 10th festival. We had such a wonderful experience with that festival that the Griot Circle of Maryland pledged to host that festival every 10 years.
Hmm.
So we hosted it. They were in Baltimore in '02, in 12, and we're back here in Baltimore in
22.
2022.
Mhm.
One of
Mhm.
the other things that uh, we are proud of, the Griot Circle of Maryland, again, is hosting the festival. We, our experiences in the Black storytelling world was impetus to uh, Mama Deborah and myself founding the Growing Griot Literacy Learning Program. It is the youth component of the Griot Circle of Maryland.
Mhm.
And again, the impetus behind that was so that we, number one, we have been telling stories. Our youth have been telling stories ever since we have been members of the National Association of Black Storytellers. And we had the pleasure of performing in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, in New Orleans the year before Katrina hit,
Mhm.
um, and places in Maryland,
Yeah.
just around the
Been
country.
there. Yeah.
We used to bring, we members the affiliate members and members of the National Association would bring our children to the festival.
Mm-hmm.
In 2007, because some of our original growing griots had gone off to college and the like, we decided to put some structure around
Mm-hmm.
our new group,
Mm-hmm.
the Growing Griot Literacy Learning Program. Our main objective was to enhance their literacy skills,
Mm-hmm.
their ability to read, write, follow directions, do public speaking, do critical thinking. And we taught them about their Black culture, that which they are not or were not taught in public schools.
Mm-hmm.
And the Griot Circle Maryland's youth group is starting their 16th
Yeah.
year. For
Ooh.
16 years, we have been educating our youth about the African diasporic experience and
Mm-hmm.
their Black culture.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. Well, I want to give thanks to Nia Redmond for allowing me the opportunity to go. I didn't even have plans, and she said, "Here, the ticket. You're going." And I try not to not follow directions from my elders, so I did, and it was phenomenal. I still have um, the pictures, videos. I mean, I was in there and I ran out of my batteries, ran low and everything, but I had, and my children went, which was, and they were teenagers and young adults. And my daughter was, it blew her. I mean, she's um, she does poems and art and things of that nature and spoken word and things. And she was like, oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She went in there and she started writing. And also for me as the mother, um, I sometimes listen to Dr. Mama Deborah when she said that she got involved because her kids were involved. I was right there too. And when I couldn't be, I had somebody that was there too, so that they could tell me or they could tell, So
report back.
right. But so with the youth that have gone through that exposure, what happens as young adults? I mean, are they much more confident?
Oh God!
Are they are they
Could have been in the rehearsal last night.
Right. You just made me smile.
I know that's right. Could have been in the rehearsal last night.
What we are proud of is that you can't take their Black selves from them.
That's right.
And they are so
grounded.
They're not monolithic. They are different, and they have gone different trails and the like. But you can't take their Black self from them. The knowledge of who they are and what we as a people have contributed to the world.
Mm-hmm.
Can't take it from them. And they just we have a saying, once a growing griot, always a growing griot. And it has manifested itself. And we see it. It has just brought me so much. I am so humble because of how they share with us, how they have benefited from what we shared
with them.
Yeah. And as Mama Dr. Deborah said, Yes, sir. Dr. Mama Deborah, as she always says, and this has been our mantra also, it's all about the children.
Mm-hmm.
It's about the next generation. It's about us sharing our knowledge because they bring knowledge to us
Mm-hmm.
also. Yes.
Well, I know when we went to the trip, when we went to Harriet Tubman, we were on it, and there was some young people, and it was I can't the young man, and when he stood up and he was, I was just kind of like, whoa. That because it was wonderful for me because I had Dallas, and Dallas is now 9 years old, and that it just opened his eyes. I mean, he was like, wow, yeah, I can do that. I can do this. And I'm like, okay. Because while he was young, he's gone and he's experienced and he's talked to. And he's like, well, why do you do this? How come you do it? How come you talk this way? How did you know this information? And they were telling him, and he was like, I need to find out. I need to find out. We got to go to the library. I'm like, okay. Okay. You know what I mean? So and at 9, he's very confident.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in a sense, there's still some swaying. Girls can sway to a point, so we got to get him there. But a lot of the experiences when he heard about Harriet Tubman, but he's I gotta know more. I gotta know more. Oh, she wasn't no punk. I said, oh, no, she wasn't a punk. No, she wasn't a punk. So just those exposure. So I definitely am going to bring him because that was profound. I mean, he may not totally remember doctor. He remembers the doctor. He may not remember everything else. The mother of the 2 doctors. That's all he can talk about because he met her at the center. But then he got to see her, and she was the same way. He was like, she's the same way. I was like, yeah. People change. He said, I mean, so it's for me as an adult. I learn. You know what I mean? And for me, it's wonderful to be in a space when you don't have to apologize for being Black.
Hey.
It's like a filling up, refreshing, because I can tell stories. I can tell stories from what my grandmother and my great grandmother, but not too many people experience that. Like for now, how many grandmothers can go back to their grandmothers? Because grandmothers now are young. They not really getting
They're mothers with grandchildren, not grandmothers.
Yeah. So it's like it's a whole different experience. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I always say to my children, and they laugh at me, I'm glad I'm not a grandmother. I'm getting those peppers now, but if I was younger, I wouldn't. I mean, I could teach them, I could show them, but you got to get some bumps and bruises to be able to, and things that you can walk a person through before you can be a grandmother. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I appreciate. I mean, Dr. Mama Deborah came in and volunteered, and when I first met her, I met her son before I met her. So, and he's very confident. I was like, "Ooh, man!" And when he was getting his PhD, and he spoke, and I was covering it, and he was, very. I was like, "Wow." Must be really, they were really quiet. Like, I was like, oh, this is wonderful. I was like, let him keep on speaking,
I know that's right. Because we did an interview yesterday, and David spoke, and after he finished, they asked me, did I have anything else to say? I said, I love to hear that boy speak.
Yeah, I mean, it's profound. It's profound. I mean, because when he got his PhD, even though I wasn't there, we heard about it. We were like in the office, like it was our kid, and it was fantastic because when he came, the young boys were like, "Who's that? Who?" And he's coming with the drums, and they go, "Ooh, I want to see. I want to." And he let them. He talked to them. He didn't talk at them. He didn't belittle them. They were like, "Oh, I want to be around him. I don't know why, but I need to be around him." And that's profound. You know what I mean? Because sometimes all they see is the pharmaceutical sales rep on the corner, but they even gravitated. You know what I'm saying? So it's profound. And, you know, for me, I paid homage to my prime members, and that were my ride and die. Those were my grandparents. I learned everything I could. I mean, there isn't anything that I didn't learn from my mom and my gam gam. They were the world, and they still live through me. You know what I mean? So for me to sit up and think about crocheting and knitting, that's my communion with her. That's my refreshing and reliving all those different things, so I can pass that on to my daughter, who is very strong, strong, confident young woman. Sometimes she gives me chills. I'm like, woo, you know what I mean? She knows who she is, and that's profound. And so many kids don't.
Yeah, that's what's so missing. So miss, and you can see it. I say it all the time. That's the major thing that's missing, is that our children don't know who they are. They don't know what capabilities they have, because they can't attach it to anything, because they don't know their history. They don't know their history. And you must know it in order to know that even in the midst of all the mess that we are in now, you can stand, and you can stand firm if you know who you are.
And you have that support who knows who they are.
Yeah.
You know, because if you go home and say, "Who are you?" and they go, "Oh, I don't know."
Yeah.
Lost, you know, and just all the different things that are going on. Like for me, sometimes it you know, if I have a disagreement with my daughter, my daughter's like, "Okay, you can disagree, but I'm a grown woman, ma. I'm adult," and I'm like, "I understand," but she's not swayed. She's like, "Okay, well, I'm not going to change."
Yeah, she's
not
saying what she mean. That's right.
You and I'm like,
saying in her own truth.
You know, she's speaking in her own truth.
That's right, and standing in it. That's right.
She's standing, and that's what young ladies, you know, where it's how do I exercise my word? You know, they're only seen in certain ways, and it's sad. So how can, like I'm saying, like if like for instance, we have kids, my kids are grown now, but my kids, or like Dallas or other children, like I sent your form to his school because I know they're international school. So you've got different countries from Africa, you know what I mean? Different Ethiopian, all kinds. So I know Furley. Furley.
Okay.
You got a whole
there with you.
Yes, they got a whole. I mean, he actually is going to a school where he is actually in class with his motherland.
Oh, okay, all right. Hey, ain't nothing wrong with that.
They are, and they are serious about their education. I mean, there is no, they're not the ones that are talking in the classroom. They're like, "Oh, he must not have morals or something," you know, and keep it moving. So,
but they value education differently, and you teach the value of education. You teach that. These kids don't value education, please.
And not their parents, you know, they're present
because nobody taught them to value it. My mother, all they ever talked about was education, education. And I did the same thing with my kids, because my response to everything they said was, "After you graduate from college."
That's right.
I was telling them that when they was like 2 and 3 years old. After you graduate from college. And what did they do? They graduated from college. And then I used to tell them, you know, you got to do more than me. You got to do more than me. So I got a master's, so that means y'all got to get up there somewhere. Okay. And that's what they did.
So will you have, so I know I've got a couple young ladies that I've been working with that I met in the laundromat.
Okay.
On a Sunday. I really wasn't really wasn't paying attention. I mean, I was studying. That's when I would study, when I go group, do my spreads. And then they were in the gangs, different gangs, and they were talking and laughing. And I was like, okay. And they said, what do you study? I said, well, at that time I was doing my bachelor's, double bachelor's. They said, why would you do a double bachelor's? I said, well, first, let me explain something. As an African-American woman, I have to work 12 times harder than my counterpart.
Hey.
Okay. So if I don't have the credential, even if I have the experience, if I don't have the paper, they don't always take me seriously. So then when I got my master's, you went to get your master's? Of course. Well, how much more are you going to do? I said, I'm going to get my PhD. And she said, okay. So as I was doing things, I didn't go to school. Why don't you go on to school? Well, I just don't. The teacher bores me. Why does she bore you? Well, I know this stuff. Well, have you communicated with the teacher? She don't want to listen to me. I said, okay, well, does your mom go? No, I live with my great-grandmother. And she can't get to the school, but she writes a lot of notes. So it was like, But just from them, they knew they were from separate gangs. But that was their safe space to talk to. And I would I use them as volunteers. So a lot of those young girls, they would come in and volunteer at the center just to get around other people. And now 2 go to Morgan, 1 goes to Loyola, and 2 go to Goucher.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But I was the face that was, and I really didn't even, I mean, perhaps I did, but I really didn't understand. Probably didn't know what I was doing. I was just talking to them, exposing them to different things.
And that's how it begins. That's how it begins with talking.
Get the papers and I'll be your reference. I'll be your reference.
That's right.
And I didn't even know her name, but it was the point. Now we sit back and trade college secrets because I'm almost finished my PhD, and now they're finishing up their bachelor's. 1 is actually going to go to graduate school in the spring. And it was just a conversation in a laundromat.
Mm-hmm. That's wonderful. It's like
I'm gonna have to leave you guys.
I know you said you had stuff to do.
Yeah, I gotta go. But handle it, Miss.
I'll do the best I can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you're a librarian, so you can. Man, that was my hangout. My kid, you would have thought that was the credit card of the whole entire universe.
I hear you.
We have to go to the library. There was a library on Linwood and Fayette. Is it Linwood and Fayette? Linwood and Patterson.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so we went to the library, and my kids love to read. I love to read. My kids love to read. And at that time, we didn't really, we understood the power of reading, but we didn't know that if we kept reading all these books, this library could get more stuff, more things, more equipment, more things. So we went on a challenge that every year when the summer reading, we would excel and keep excelling and create healthy competitions with other people that read so that we could get more videotapes, more yoga things. Like there was one woman, she read all the yoga books, so she wanted more yoga DVDs. And it was a senior and I who read gardening books because we wanted more gardening books and we wanted more this. And as a result, we wound up getting a couple computer labs, a couple more librarians because it was so much traffic. People were utilizing spaces and all these different things. And then it was like, wow. Circus Soleil. Some people didn't even know about Circus Soleil. They do now because we kept getting the DVDs and kept getting the things. And we wound up having all these different things. So it built a community because now Saturday, people were waiting outside.
Understandable.
For the library to open. I mean,
it's one of those institutions that we as a people should value. My experiences in the library was such that as a people, we didn't take advantage of that resource in the manner that we needed to take advantage of that resource. But it's like Frederick Douglass said, reading will set you free.
Yes, it will.
I don't care what you are into, what motivates you, what your passion are. You can find it in the library, in reading. And especially I reading about your Black culture
Mm.
will expand your world. Reading about your Black culture. If you, no matter what you like, no matter what your passion is, you can find books, uh, all the new technology, everything about that on the Black side of life because it exists. Your reading again will just set you free. You can find out so much. You can travel around the world because of your ability to read.
Yes, and the thing is, for me, it was a joy because it became a we would do at least one day a week, and then we wound up doing 2 days a week. So Saturday, that was our thing, and like beloved. So Toni Morrison was like profound to me.
Mhm.
More so as a teenager, and then I don't think I took her as serious as she was until I became an adult. And then just seeing the things that she went through, because she taught at Howard, you know what I mean? And she couldn't raise up because she didn't have a PhD. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm like,
Yeah, I do.
and I'm saying, but she was at Howard. This is brilliance. This woman had broke. She at that time she hadn't written. She had written, but she hadn't published. Here she was an editor. You know what I mean? All these different things, but her books. She didn't apologize for being Black.
Right.
She didn't, and people respected her. They trusted her. Her wisdom, they felt she was a solid woman. The fact that what profounded me, I didn't know that she helped Muhammad Ali write his book.
I hear you. It's amazing. It's like, um, again, I started, and when I was as being a librarian and
Mhm.
really being into my Black self,
Mhm.
um, and I started reading books by Black women
Mhm.
authors. It opened up my world to what Black women have had to go through.
Mhm.
Not
Still gotta
only,
go through.
not only, right, not only being Black, but being a woman, right? It
Mhm.
is mind blowing what you can, how you can grow again. That's just an example of it. Just opened my head, my mind to what Black women, how they, what they were suffering, how they overcome, and what they give to us as a Black culture so that
Mhm.
we can be where we are. It is like one of the
I
things,
have those.
hey, one of the things that we do in the Growing Griot Literacy Learning Program that we are able to share with them and that you'll find when you go through reading. It's like you were saying earlier about um, some of the heroes and sheroes that you knew about. It's like when they come into the growing griots, one of the first things we do is ask them to name 10 African diasporic heroes or sheroes. And you know what we get all the time? Harriet Tubman. Uh,
Michael Jordan.
hey, yeah, depending on who it is. But
Yeah, Scottie Pippen.
uh, you get Martin Luther King,
Mm-hmm.
but what we share with them is your parents, your grandparents, your mothers, your fathers, your aunts, your uncles are heroes and sheroes.
Mm-hmm.
As you learn what they have had to go through life to get us to where we are now, to just know again about who you are and what we have gone through as a people. To know that, yeah, I have a master's degree, and in the library, I used to tell all the other folk that worked around me, I ain't no better than you.
That's true.
I'm not better than you because I got this or I got that, right? We as a people, we are a village. We have so much that we can give to each other. And that's what's wonderful about us being able to come together. We have so many things that we can give to each other that will help us um, be our best selves in this world. And that is so very important.
Yes, it is. And one of the things is I want to say I appreciate you because I had just talked to you yesterday on the phone,
Mm-hmm.
and your presence was strong and it was peaceful. Dr. Mama Deborah, I've been in her presence for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
I would say a little over 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I've learned. I mean, there have been times when she has brought me books. You know what I mean? When I was doing my business and project management degree, she brought me books. She
Mm-hmm.
brought me books. I know you read. Here's something for your daughter. Here's something for your sons. And would ask me, and how was the book? I read the book, and I was like, I never thought of it this way, but I'm grateful that I got to see that point of view. But I also just her encouraging spirit. You understand what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
and through her, I've been able to meet quite a few people. You go to the Blacks and Wax Museum.
Mm-hmm.
It's a profound. I mean, you can't put it in words. I mean,
Right.
the different levels, uh the boat, that was a little
Slave ship. Yeah. Slave ship. Just
that was
that's
a
that's another example of what we as black people in the black culture, how we again share with each other. The um, God gave the Martins that vision, and they have given to this city and to this world one of the greatest black cultural monuments that could ever be, the National Great Blacks and Wax Museum. You have to
You have
experience.
to see it. You have to,
You
and you
have
can't.
to experience it.
You can go and see it the first time, but when you go back that second time, it puts things in perspective. It things that you just go, that feeling. And then a colleague of mine, LaKerry Dawson, she took me to DC. Oh my
Mhm.
goodness. That, whoo, that uh man, I was crying. I went through so
Right.
many different emotions. And Emmett Till, that we were, I would say we were, I don't, maybe 6 feet away.
Mm-hmm.
It was just, it was, I can't put it in words,
It
but
is just wonderful. Again, it's another example, and it almost makes it come full
it was
circle.
simple.
This is
Mhm.
another example of how we share our stories,
And the
how we
inventions.
share our stories and
So, yeah,
predictions. Yes, 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 yes.
just
You
the
know,
things like, starting from the lower level and here in all of that pain, you still saw greatness. I mean, you, uh, for me, I love to garden. I love to grow things. I like to make things. Um, and to see uh, that there were queens and royalty, you know what I mean? Because they don't,
yeah.
in history, you don't see that. You don't hear that. Um, to know that Emmett Till was in the building, well, I wasn't near him, but you could to see people coming out after. It was just, I mean, all nationalities, all ethnic groups.
Right.
How dare, one lady was so upset. How dare, oh my goodness, my ancestors need to get a reality check. How much more can we keep doing this? And then, and her husband was like, he was all messed up, and he was like, he came up, he said, I'm sorry. So I'm in my zone now. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
seeing Thomas Jefferson, and it was, and then you get up to where you see Angela Davis and
Mm-hmm.
Shirley Chisholm, and
Mm-hmm.
you see, pictures, and
Mm-hmm.
everything changes. But it was nice to see the Oprah Winfrey theater and all these different things. But that whole experience, it took me a couple days. I don't know, maybe a whole month, but it was so much information that I knew, but there was so much I did not know. You know what I mean? And
Yes, yes, yes. That is just again uh, taking me back to my storytelling world. That is, as was said earlier, and that's why we share our stories our own way. Each one of us have different voices. Each one of
mm-hmm,
us bring it in the same bring knowledge to us.
mm-hmm,
Maybe not in the same way because um, we are all we're different, but we are the same,
mm-hmm,
right? It's just like um, our voices come together and we acquire. You know, we can do it individually, but when we come together, that is so much strength in
mm-hmm,
coming together. And we come together when we are able to benefit from institutions like the Smithsonian African American Museum, like the National Great Blacks and Wax Museum, the Lily Carroll Museum here
mm-hmm,
in Baltimore.
mm-hmm,
Just the ability for us to come together, for the village to reach out to each other, to raise our kids, to raise our young adults.
Mm-hmm.
It is just so magnificent
Mm-hmm.
or blacknificent for us to be ourselves. Yes.
So, Mr. Butler, I want to thank you for coming and
My
just
pleasure. I like to
and
be.
I will see you. I'm gonna make it my business. I'm gonna study all the way. I'm
All
trying to
right.
get my work ahead so that and I am definitely gonna bring my sidekick
On,
Dallas with
yep.
me. And so it's the 9th, November the 9th through the
November
13th.
the 9th to the 13th.
And it's
But
gonna be at the
on November the 9th,
mm-hmm.
there's a free, there are two things. On Sunday the 6th
Mm-hmm.
at Frederick Douglass High School,
Mm-hmm.
we will be having a free community concert
Oh,
on the 6th, leading up to the festival. So
okay.
that even if you have not registered for the festival, you can experience what that festival is going to be about. But also on November the 9th, Wednesday, November the 9th,
Mm-hmm.
at the Sheraton Inner Harbor Hotel, the
Mm-hmm.
Griot Circle of Maryland will be having their pre-festival event. And we will again be sharing stories in the African oral tradition. And it's open. The pre-festival event is free, and we
Mm-hmm.
invite you there and to the community storytelling event at the Frederick Douglass High School on
The
the
6th.
6th. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you so much
I'm
for
gonna
giving me
put this
a
in
notice.
and I'm gonna blast that on our different on Community Connections Resource and Guardian, and I'm gonna have people see if people on the network will also share this as well.
All right.
Well, it has been a pleasure. I look forward
Thank
to
you so
meeting you,
much. All
and
right.
thank you. And
Have a
thank
good.
you for joining us at Community Connections Resource and Gardening. We hope to see you. And I'm going to film this. This time I'm going to have my videotape.
This is not the last time.
Not at all.
Right.
And like you said, once a griot, always.
Always.
So I'm going to initiate myself. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye, lady.